Ray Donovan, Season 6, Episode 5, Ellis Island. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
You've been good, right? Hey, you guys. Hey, AfterBuzzers. So happy to be back today. This is the Ray Donovan After Show. I'm Louiza Shar, and I'm joined by the beautiful Erika.
What's up, party people? I'm Erika Edwards.
Yes, and we miss Rachel. We'll see her in a few weeks, but today we are here and live. And before we dig in, we have some fun news and gossip for you guys. We have a special segment, and we're going to recap Season 6, Episode 5, and then right afterwards, we are going to talk about tonight's episode 6. So before we start talking about that, let's dig in about last week's episode, Ellis Island. What was your overall thoughts on that?
Overall, I thought that was like a fun, sort of lighthearted episode, and I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was interesting, again, to see Ray trying to kind of work his magic in New York City. So that was cool. Ray
is back. He's suited up. He has the car. He has everything. He's back to being Ray Donovan. And Conor decides to visit. So, well, not decides. He flies in to see his dad. And I think Ray really is taking it, really rough because he knows most of his family died in war. Right. So I feel like he really wanted him to be with him and take him back to Staten Island to do everything. And Conor stands him up.
Right. Or actually Ellis Island.
Ellis Island, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I wish Conor just tried a bit. He didn't care at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this episode, both Conor and Bridget kind of are acting a little bit sort of bratty, especially because they're not like 10 anymore. So it's getting old, at least for me, but I wonder what folks out there think. But yeah, so Conor was kind of acting a little bratty. Bridget was as well when, when he pulls up with Schmitty or whatever. So, yeah, so they both are he's still working through his relationships with them, and,
Yeah, and he ends up going alone and ends up meeting that woman who was an image of Abby, in my opinion, right? The redhead.
Right.
So she was a ghost.
I guess.
What? That's what I think.
I feel so, because she kind of I guess she did disappear, but I don't know. I mean,
but she kind of gave truth to Ray. She said, so you want your son to be here with you right now just to show him that you can die if you go, to war and all that.
Right.
And I just feel like with Ray right now in his situation, he's just trying to hold everything together. With his dad doing so much stuff too, with Mickey right now, and Daryl, and kidnapping. What do you think about that? Because in that episode, Mickey goes to the set and literally kidnaps Jay White.
Right. Well, no, actually that was before. So now Jay White is back on set, right? And so in this particular episode is when Mickey comes up with this crazy idea to rob this bus of these people going to Hamptons.
Oh my God, I know.
And so it was like Mickey and his crazy brain schemes.
Yeah, and the thing with that is, honestly, Bunchy is so torn up right now. He's in so much of a mess. And he kind of agrees with that because he takes baby Maria to Terry and says, you know what, I might not be back in a few days.
Right.
Go ahead and take care of her, which he didn't do that well. He didn't know what he was doing, feeding her pizza.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're hilarious. I think the whole thing with Bunchy, Maria, and Mickey is so bungling criminals. They're so, it's kind of fun and funny, even though clearly they're committing major felonies.
But before we dig in a bit more about that episode, I know you have some stuff to share, so go ahead.
All right. Well, hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit the subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. let us know you did so in the comments for sure, and we'll shout you out and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Thank you, Erika. And yes, you guys, comment, share, like, do everything. We are a buffet of shows. We are on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Okay, so to wrap up this episode just a bit, so what are your thoughts about Ray and Sam Winslow conniving that thing and making that whole park scene, and then using Justine again and all that stuff to prop up Anita a bit more for her mayor thing.
That was it was kind of interesting, and especially since years ago the runner was raped in Central Park or whatever, so it was kind of like a spin on that theme, which I thought was really creative once the whole garbage men strike had ended. So they needed something to really boost her, and it was kind of a creative thing to do, and it was kind of funny that he got Daryl to be the masked black man that attacks her in the park.
Hilarious.
So yeah, I thought it was really a slick move and very interesting.
But I think this is the episode where we actually see everyone's true colors, because Ray is right now feeling like he's in major, I don't want to say SHIT, but like he feels like he can't hold anything together. And Sam has a lot of skeletons in the closet with Ed, right? The whole prison situation. Or was that tonight's episode, going and visiting Ed with the prison and all of that, wanting to buy that facility?
Right. So that is really interesting how that's kind of coming down and working out, and how, as we'll get into more tonight, I guess it's like the police versus Sam.
Yeah, and I just feel like with Sam right now, like, she has, Ray doing all these things for her, but I feel like, in a way, Ray has so much family stuff to work on right now, and I feel like he can never focus on his work right now because of that, especially with Mac. Because if we lead into the next episode, Mac is shady. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, during this episode, I'm trying to see, was there anything of importance that we should share that really rolls through to the next episode? So,
well, one thing that doesn't roll through that was interesting, I liked the scene in episode 5 of or wait, I take that back. Was it episode 6 or 5?
Yeah. Was it probably 6 or?
I was gonna say it was probably 6. All right.
Let's say, what was it? Just a little prediction.
No, I was thinking about Sam and George when she was with her stepson. That was hysterical, but that might have been 6. Like, now they're running together.
I love that character, by the way.
Yeah, like her crazy, quirky stepson is adorable.
Yeah, so he was in rehab.
Yeah, so funny.
Helping his mom cast something that clearly she does not want to help him with that process. Right. But I just want to mention the scene where Sandy steals the $3 million and bounces, because that's that episode. It's episode 5.
That was the very end of episode 4.
See, this is what happens when you skip.
I know, I'm like, oh,
sorry, you guys.
Sorry, you guys. They're running together. Okay, so in episode 5, I know. So they do.
They steal or kidnap Jay White. Right.
No, that was 4. So Jay's already back. Yeah. Because remember when? Sorry, you guys. This is horrible. Okay. Clearly. So when they come on set, Jay is back, but Daryl can't be on set. That was that whole thing. And so Jay White is back, but he's like totally a prima donna, and he's totally anti anybody Donovan at this point, which is like hilarious. And Stu is there kind of like degrading Ray, but like, can you still have drinks with me later? Like, hilarious. And Ray is kind of like,
F off.
I don't like you like that anyway. So that whole scene was really hysterical, I think, with those two. And so and then the whole thing, you really feel for Bunchy, I think. And in both of these episodes, you really, like, Bunchy is really kind of going through it, trying to hang in there and be a criminal with Mickey, and and like rob the bus, which is hysterical.
That went bad because Bunchy actually has a soul and couldn't do it. You can't just walk around and kill everyone.
Yes. It's so true.
But I want to mention Terry. So he's getting back into unhealthy habits of fighting.
Yeah.
Ignoring his condition when Ray said you can totally die. And I think everything in his life right now. So do you think he's doing it for finances, or he's aggravated and wants to get his anger out? Like, why is Terry back to that again?
Well, I think for me, I've viewed it as Terry, as if Terry and Terry kind of needs some sort of something in his life that he can really be happy with. Like in this season, we haven't seen any more of the young rising star black kid athlete. So I don't know what happened to him. And I don't know if he's like,
my God, not Daryl.
Not Daryl. I forgot the guy, but the guy whose dad was in prison and stuff.
Yes.
That was like Terry's thing.
Damien.
Damien. So we don't see him anywhere. So I do feel like, and Terry's not married. And so, I mean, he needs, I think, something to make him feel
a hobby or something.
Yeah, like
along those
that
lines.
like I think my quote of the week was a couple weeks ago about Terry was like, I'm a never was. And I think that's his whole purpose in fighting, is that he's trying to bring back that that belief that he is someone. So I think that was a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, this episode really was heart-feeling to me too, but I just feel like episode 6 is the one that ties it all together. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then let's see. All right, so this is episode 5.
Oh, you know what we can do?
Now, what was really interesting at the end of that, what I really liked in this episode was when, so after Ray kind of saves Anita, or comes up with this scheme to get Anita back up in the polls, Anita goes over to his house to sleep with him. And it's so interesting how they edit the scenes between, and it was the end of the last episode and the beginning of this episode, between Anita sort of doing the rough sex thing with Ray, which was like hysterical. Because when I saw that scene, I was like, well, maybe she wanted that guy to punch her. You know what I mean? Like the whole reason we started to save her was because she was in this sex thing that had gone bad.
Yeah.
But maybe the real blackmail was that she likes it rough, because he did kind of get a little rough with her, and she seemed like she was into it.
He bit her. No, she bit him, and then his lip the bottom lip started to bleed, right? And that turned him on, and that turned her on, turned it around, did the thing. But I feel like you're right, though. That's actually a good way to explain her situation with the sex tape.
Well, not just that. Like, I feel like originally she was like, oh, he attacked me and stuff. And the way they presented it was like she was sleeping with him and he attacked her. But now I think really, he didn't attack her. She probably asked for it, because I think she likes it rough. Yeah,
well, Anita is a curious one, though. She's kind of spicy and hot. She has her whole little world with her. We have to be careful with her.
So I feel like we originally were drawn in to this scenario, and Ray was sort of, like, oh, I'm protecting her. But I think now more and more of her particular skeletons are coming out. So, because it was always kind of weird, like, well, you're single, why can't you sleep with somebody? Yeah. So, we were kind of unclear as to, why he was blackmailing her. And now all of a sudden, he's dead. So who knows? But so now I'm thinking maybe that whole original...
She's shady.
Yeah, the original scene and what drew Ray even into her life and her scheme and fixing things for her, I think, was kind of set up so that Ray would feel like he was saving the day, when actually... he probably was just not.
And even the interaction with Bridget. She met Bridget, and then when Bridget's like, I'm engaged and this, that, and then she's like, oh, how does your dad feel? And she just said, well, my first boyfriend was shot. My second one was my 11th grade teacher, and this is an improvement. She was like, ugh. Like, she kind of got scared off, right? She's like, that's a lot of can of worms. But I think she's also using that to get closer with Ray.
Right.
There's clearly sexual energy with Ray. I also think Sam and Ray have sexual energy. Like, that's going to happen sooner or later. I don't know what you guys think, but...
I don't know.
Please. Sam is so attracted to Ray.
Sam is definitely attracted to Ray, but I still feel like there's more mother and son energy than sexual energy. But I see what you're saying.
But I think, you know what, and going back to that ghost scene really quickly, that was such a... interesting way of showing Abby, because the woman was Irish, she had red hair, you know what I mean? I think this is trying to show that even though Ray might not be seeing Abby in the way he used to from prior episodes, she's still so prominent in his life, and like small little clues like this, I think the directors and producers do such a great job.
That was a pretty cool. That whole scene was actually pretty cool. I liked that scene a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Episode 5. I think we're good to go. Anything else that you want to add on before we head over to the next episode?
Let's see. So Sam and Ray, no, I mean,
I think we're good.
yeah, because it wasn't,
Yeah, we have a lot to chop down for episode 6, so.
I know. I mean, I think the biggest thing with episode 5 was kind of like the whole robbing the bus thing going wrong, and
no morals. I think Mickey and just he's not a good father. The situations he puts Bunchy in.
yeah, and I think to me also, what I found, and it'd be interesting to see what the people in the audience think too. Like, I was so frustrated, I think, with episode 5 and like Bridget and Conor and how they were dealing with Ray. Like, to me, you know, Bridget is like going off, and like your brother, you know, your boyfriend or fiance is like a drug dealer, and he like,
Clearly.
oh, I don't want to lie to Bridget, but you've been lying to her the whole time. And so now I feel like, okay, and she came down so hard on Ray, and she never even
heard the explanation.
Right, and she never even asked. And it's like, okay, you know, so that part really kind of makes you feel for Ray, but it's kind of, I don't know. I think both of the kids, honestly, are kind of working my nerves.
So much lack of communication. I mean, why you were so mean to your dad. Like, at least understand where it's coming from. He helped your fiance get out of major trouble, you know, and like literally got a bat, did the whole thing, you know, brings him back home. And that's the thing with Bridget. She doesn't give him a chance, but we'll see from this next episode that things might change and how maybe she's feeling like she was a bit hard. You know, but that's the situation with Ray and you know, Conor and Bridget. It's so off. It's so sad and dark.
Yeah, I think they're both trying to be, you know, like, I get that they're still grieving, but they're getting on my nerves. Really.
Yeah.
And then, and it'll be interesting to see how this storyline with Conor progresses, because, you know, all the drinking, all the stuff he's doing.
Well, the drinking is getting on Ray's nerve because, like, I feel like when he did ask him, say, oh, you know, you're drinking whiskey or whatever, he got so defensive. Connor's like, well, you drink all the time. But Connor's expression was very strange at that moment. I feel like he's doing other stuff besides just drinking. Maybe he's,
well, yeah, and I feel like if you're drinking this much and you're going to war, or, you know, I mean, I think right now they said he was just going to be stationed in Europe. So, I mean, he's not quite going, you know, he's not going to Afghanistan or anything yet, but, you know, it'll be interesting to see where they go with that story.
And there was so much that Ray wanted to tell him and he couldn't, you know, when he dropped him off. It was so sad. He called his name three to four times and Conor didn't turn around. As a father, oh my gosh, I don't even know.
Yeah,
How
that's so sad. That's so sad.
Yeah, so this was great. In the meantime, where can everyone find you on social media?
All right, you guys, you can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, Erika, D as in door, Edwards.
And you can find me at Louiza Shar on Instagram and Twitter. And don't go anywhere because we're literally rolling over to discuss episode 6. So stay tuned.
Back, you guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.